Tonight, when the sun goes down, you're going to flip a switch. Light will flood the room, and you won't think twice about it. But for 99.9% of human history, that switch didn't exist. When the sun set, the world went dark. You couldn't even see your own hand in front of your face. But modern humans almost never experience this. For over 300,000 years, every single one of your ancestors spent roughly half their life in near total darkness. They didn't even have candles for most of that time, just the stars and whatever fire they could keep alive. So what did they actually do? Because fire is the reason any of this was possible. The earliest solid evidence of humans controlling fire comes from Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, roughly 1 million years ago. But fire didn't just keep people warm. Fire completely restructured the human day.
When the sun went down, you climbed a tree or stayed still. Moving at night meant becoming food. Our eyes are terrible in the dark.
Compared to the predators that hunted us. Leopards, hyenas, wolves, all of them could see just fine.
Fire changed that equation overnight. Literally, a campfire creates a circle of safety roughly 30 feet in diameter. Inside that circle, predators won't come. Outside that circle, you die. This is not an exaggeration. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer fire at night are significantly more likely to be killed by predators. Even today. But here's what's fascinating. Fire didn't just protect humans at night, it gave them something they'd never had before: extra hours. Think about this. Before fire, the useful day ended at sunset. Fire suddenly added 2 to 4 U's 8 in winter. And over thousands of generations, those extra hours changed our species. In 2014, she spent years recording conversations among the Juhoansi Bushmen of the Kalahari Desert. One of the last groups on Earth still living something close to the original human lifestyle. What she found was striking. During the day, about 80% of conversations were practical. Who's hunting where? Which plants are ready? Complaints, logistics, economic negotiations. Daytime talk was work. But at night, 81% of conversations were stories. Tales of people in distant places, adventures, myths about the origins of the world, jokes that made the whole camp laugh. Wiesner argued that firelight conversation is where human culture was born. The campfire was the original theater, the original classroom, the original church. It's where humans learn to think beyond the immediate present and imagine things that don't exist yet. It's where we became us. But the night wasn't just about stories around the fire. There was something else happening, something that scientists only rediscovered in the last 30 years. You were not designed to sleep the way you sleep right now. In 2001, historian Roger E. Eckhart published a paper that changed sleep science. He had spent 16 years digging through historical records, and he found some 500 references spanning centuries. References to what they called first sleep and second sleep. All of them described the exact same pattern. People would go to sleep shortly after sunset, sleep for about 4 hours, and then wake up in the middle of the night. They would stay awake for 1 or 2 hours. This was sometimes called the watch. They would pray or write. And a 16th century doctor's manual actually noted that this waking period was the best time to conceive a child. After that hour or two of being awake, they'd go back to sleep until morning. The idea of sleeping for 8 solid hours. And it's not just history. In the early 1990s, a psychiatrist named Thomas Ware conducted a fascinating experiment. He took a group of modern people and deprived them of artificial light. For a month, they spent 14 hours a day in total darkness. At first, they just slept a lot, catching up on built-up sleep debt. But by the 4th week, a biological shift happened. Their sleep fractured. They naturally reverted to sleeping in 2 distinct blocks, separated by a 1 to 2 hour period of quiet wakefulness. And during that waking period, their brains produced high levels of prolactin, a hormone associated with a state of peaceful, meditative rest. Today, if you wake up at 3 a.m., you don't feel peaceful. You feel anxious. You look at your phone, you panic about not getting enough sleep. We've taken a perfectly natural human biological rhythm and pathologized it as a sleep disorder called middle-of-the-night insomnia. So what killed the second sleep? It wasn't an evolutionary change, it was a technological one, the Industrial Revolution and artificial light. In the 17th and 18th centuries, cities began installing gas street lamps. For the first time, the night was no longer something to be feared. It became a space for commerce, for socializing, and eventually, for labor. The useful day expanded relentlessly. Factory owners needed workers on predictable schedules. You couldn't have people waking up for 2 hours in the middle of the night. So, sleep was compressed. The 2 natural cycles were pushed together into one solid block of rest to maximize the working day. Then came the electric light bulb. Suddenly, light was cheap, safe, and available inside every home. Darkness became optional. We stopped going to bed at sunset. We stayed up later, bathing our brains in artificial daylight until the moment we finally forced ourselves to sleep. In the process, we completely eliminated that midnight period of quiet wakefulness and the peaceful, meditative chemistry that came with it. Today, we live in a world of perpetual twilight. More than 80% of the world's population lives under a light-polluted sky. But our biology hasn't caught up to our technology. To your brain, the bright blue light of a smartphone looks exactly like the midday sun. This artificial light actively suppresses the production of melatonin, the hormone that signals to your body that it's time to repair and rest. We are feeding our bodies signals of endless day, and as a result, we are living through an epidemic of chronic exhaustion.
In our quest to conquer the night and maximize our productivity, we successfully vanished, but we might have banished our rest along with it.
But it wasn't just sleep that we lost. We also lost the campfire. We traded a communal outward-facing circle for an afraid-facing screen.
Instead of sharing stories and imagining the future together, we sit alone in the dark, scrolling through the curated highlight reels of strangers.
But we don't have to live like this. We can't go back to the Pleistocene, but we can intentionally reclaim the night.
It starts by dimming the lights after sunset, by putting away the screens an hour before bed, by letting your brain realize that the sun has actually gone down. And maybe it means finding our modern version of the campfire, creating a space in the evening for actual conversation, for stories, for connection. We need to remember that darkness isn't just the absence of light, it's a fundamental biological requirement. It's half of the environment we evolved in. In our 24/7 world, the boundary between day and night has been completely erased. We're expected to be on all the time.
And if you do wake up at 3 a.m., don't pan out the days by it. Use it for a moment of quiet reflection.
The hardware inside your brain is exactly the same as the ancestors who sat around the fire 100,000 years ago. It still craves that rhythm. So tonight, when the sun goes down, pay attention to what your body is telling you. Give it the darkness it deserves. And maybe, just maybe, let yourself experience what the night is actually supposed to feel like.
Good night.
Thanks so much for watching. If you want to learn more about the weird history of human biology, check out the links in the description. And as always, stay curious.